Hello world, it's JWP, J Ward Primo Beats, coming to you live from my home studio. For around 20 years, I've been mixing and mastering music, rapping, songwriting, recently started singing, along with everything else that goes with music production, such as graphic design, editing, photo editing. And for around 15 years, I've been using SynthEdit to make my own audio plugins. Check out my website, jwpsite.com, for my social links, latest news and updates, and public offerings. My Twitch, JWP stream, Facebook, JWP Meta, YouTube at JWPTube. If you'd like to help support what I do, check out my Patreon, JWP Patreon. That's with 2 P's. There's exclusive content there for making your own audio plugins in SynthEdit, including the prefabs from this documentation series, my GoFundMe, JWP Fund, or my PayPal, jwpmas@gmail.com. Likes, comments, subscribes, follows, whatever makes you click or appreciated. So I'll be continuing along with the Visual VST/I programming book. And today I'm going to be looking at parametric equalizers. Parametric equalizers. Parametric equalizers afford users great flexibility, enabling them to adjust equalizers' bands, center frequency, and bandwidth. Some parametric equalizers also feature different filter types ranging from low pass and high pass to shelving and peaking filters. The following example shows you how to create a 4-band parametric equalizer with 1 low shelf, 1 high shelf, and 2 peaking bands. This example uses DH biquad filter module, much like those in the previous prefabs. 4 filters are arrayed serially for each channel, all operating in Hertz, octave, decibel mode. One is configured as a low shelf, another as a high shelf, and 2 more in EQ peak mode. The controls are also akin to previous prefabs. Gain ranges from -18 to 18 decibels. Bandwidth is specified in octaves. Frequency ranges from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which equals low and high knob values of 0.5405684 and 10.506353, respectively. The KDL volts to Hertz module converts these values to Hertz. Figure 2.8 and 2.81 show the structure and user interface. So we have figure 2.8, a 4-band parametric equalizer structure. We see an I/O mod, of course, and they are running input L, input R, so stereo signal running to 4 DH biquad filters in serial and stereo in parallel. So 4 for left and 4 for right. Then those output to a level ADJ and out to an I/O mod. Around them, it has a series of different knobs for controlling the different aspects of the biquad filter, specifically frequency, gain, bandwidth, and then the output gain. In figure 2.81 of 4-band parametric equalizers user interface, we see the arrangement of knobs. So it also has LS, standing for low shelf, I imagine, and then EQ, 1. So low shelf frequency, low shelf gain, EQ, 1 frequency, EQ, 1 gain, EQ, 1 bandwidth, EQ, 2 frequency, EQ, 2 gain, EQ, 2 bandwidth, high shelf frequency, high shelf gain, and then gain. So heading back to the previous page, there is a heads up section. Of course, Acrobat's not really working with me here. It's skipping pages and I don't want that. Okay, so here's the heads up. Add bands for more precise control. This ups the CPU load, so if you use many bands, equip them with an on-bypass switches. See the section Optimizing Effects on page 185 to learn more. Add filter type selectors for each band if you wish to afford users even greater flexibility. Go to Files, Effects, Equalizer, EQ pair of 4.sc1. So in fact, I did not do this in advance. So what we're going to do, so get that in order now. Just take a moment. So I have EQ parallel. And this is using standard skin component, so there's nothing missing. Loaded quickly. And that's it. So time to build, I suppose. In this case, I will be using, I'll be starting with the EQ Band 4 prefab here, just for the preset managers, pre-built, and yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to really need any of this. I'm going to stick it to the side for now, in case I want to pick from it. Then I'm going to bring in a new IO mod here, and I want to copy this selection here. So as I was saying, instead of the DH biquad filter, I will be using the Butterworth filters. And this is Butterworth version 2. I do believe it comes installed standard. I'm not 100% sure. Is now the old Butterworth filters are contained in old. So I imagine they are installed by default now. Okay, and with the new versions, we have less sort of interference when changing knobs or changing things. A little bit more modulatable, and they don't overload. So yeah, those are good things. So first up, we have low shelf here. So I want two low shelves. Two low shelves. However, I'm looking here and I see frequency and bandwidth, but I don't see shelf. Filter type. Yeah, there's no specific shelf. And I don't know how steep the slope is. I'll have to go look up and see how steep the slope is. And sort of add that to it. Must be related to bandwidth. Okay, so it's an octave, right? Something else I'll probably be doing different here. I'm using poles. So 10 octaves. I'm not sure the transition or the translation between the two, the conversion between octave and poles. Imagine more octaves, the harder the slope, right? So I do believe DH is still available. I do believe it is 64 bits. No, it is not. DH, I believe he stopped working on the third-party modules. However, Rob Herder's biquad filter is available, and I believe that's the same. Just looking here. Okay, no, it's bandwidth octave. Okay. So, as I said, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with poles. As it is not included here, I'm not going to be including it. For those who wish to get the presets from my Patreon, they can include bandwidth and poles if they so wish, or poles if they so wish. Bandwidth is going to be included here. All right, so first up, inputs obviously done. Center frequencies, so that'll be pitch, and this is in hertz. They are in, looks like it's here as well. Of course, I have to turn it on to get the readouts to run. So I'm going to bring in, do I have any projects that have, these are sliders, right? And these are GUI based? Yes, they are. Okay. So here's the 3-band EQ from previous documentation, and it does have readouts. So I'm just going to use one of those instead of spending 10-15 minutes building a knob. And I will still have to customize a few of the functions. Okay. Most of it's done, right? Okay, so this is what we want. I actually have this as a reference as well. I'm just going to close FL here. Since it's not really doing anything, and it won't be for a little while. Okay, so low shelf frequency, low shelf gain. Frequency would be hertz, and gain will be by decibel. So ls freak, I usually put a dot for abbreviations, and plus gain. And these are backwards. That's backwards rather, and this is lowercase, all lowercase. No, it's letters uppercase. All right, so need to switch the range here. This is from 20 to 20,000. Of course, that's such a large number for this small control here. Hopefully, looks like it's holding together as far as being legible. And while this is a stereo linked EQ here, again, I won't be touching poles. And I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping or maintenance here. It's down for now. And just drop that there. This one here. And what do we have as a default there? 224. Let's go to 225. And 3 gain. No, just no gain. Don't need to boost anything, right? All right. On to the next band here. So this is a shelf, or rather a peak shelf. What's it called here? Band shelf. I do have one more control in here, which is width, and that is by hertz, opposed to octave. So I'm just going to move this, and in fact, I'm going to copy a few of these. These. Sort of laid out. And I want these, so just two. These opposed to gainers, opposed to decibels. Gain middle, bandwidth on the bottom. And what are these called? Q frequency. So Q1. One in the middle here. Q frequency 2. EQ2 frequency rather. Same thing all the way down. Okay, so EQ1 gain and EQ1 frequency. This is actually bandwidth. How do they abbreviate it here? Just BW. EQ. Okay, because these aren't being abbreviated with dots, I'm going to go ahead and remove all the dots from the frequency abbreviation here, just to keep things consistent. Then I can just drop this one and copy this one, so I only have to change one number. And 20 to 20,000 is steep, but I mean options are options. Let's leave it there. With modern SynthEdit, you cannot exceed the number that's max. So I might as well just leave the option to be super wide. Then I want there, gain here, and bandwidth. Again, I won't be touching poles. Poles will be default to 4. And I want the same thing. Rest, gain, and bandwidth. In fact, now that that's done, I can just grab all of this and just copy this one over and then change those numbers. Much faster, even though I have to do the renaming. It's much faster to do that than it is to plug away. And then finally, the high shelf. Only has 2 controls. This is high shelf, pitch, and gain. I require 2. Did I wire the second one in? I did. Okay. Again, only 2. Gain, and then they are in serial. Just a little bit of tidying here. Out of line here. Then the bottoms all at once. Right. Now for the GUI itself, looks like I never did end up using any of the other components besides the preset manager. So it's down here for now. EQ2, EQ2 bandwidth, EQ2 gain, EQ2 EQ1 gain. Let's tighten this up a bit. My shelf frequency, shelf gain, and finally bandwidth. All right, now I'm gonna sort of stick them in the corner. It looks like there's some overlap here. Those are a bit too tight. How much? Okay. 1 and 1. Okay. Again, a little crooked. Looks like I messed up the preset changer. All right, that looks like it's in order. It's somewhere off to the side for now. I'm going to now save it. So save. This is EQ, PEQ. What was the name here? EQ para 4. EQ underscore para 4. Good. All right, I need an output. And I also want to get rid of these other controls from the other equalizer, the 10-band equalizer. I believe it was 10. Okay, now it's time to do the GUI here, or the preset browser rather. So there, and it looks like the white space moved a bit here. So I moved it. I'm gonna have to be doing some wiggling anyways. So let's look at how this is laid out here. Oh, I forgot gain. That's right too. So there is a dB2 voltage converter. In my previous tutorials, I was using the Butterworth. However, it occurred to me that there is signal conversion data here that I can make an actual gainer, and I want linear, right? So I'll come back to that. For now, I'll just finish the GUI here. Reference again, pretty much super tight all around. Gain sits in the middle. Like that. More. Leave space for that other plug. Can do the preset browser right now. There's this guy here. It's in the middle, and then these guys at the end. So that's done. I'm gonna wait for this because I'm gonna just end up fighting with it if I attempt to bring it in now. So now it's time to make a gainer. This gainer, however, is not modulatable, meaning if the parameter is exposed to the host and automation is attempted, it will not respond fast. It will respond, but not fast. Okay, so I want a float function. In fact, I'm going to bring in a container. I'm going to match these names up here. This is called level 80J. No space, and then I believe it's in B like that. That's how it's labeled. No, there's no DB. Then I want to bring in the signals. So left and right. Then I'm just going to cut this float function so I don't have to pull it out of the toolbox again. Here. Oh, excuse me. Level 80J, two of them. And I also require a knob, right? So that is, let's get the types here. I just want that level dB. That's where the dB sits. B. Then I want this labeled as gain. So range here. So 18 by 18. What's the range for the boosts and stuff? I believe the book that 18 by 18, right? It's really hard to see with the white. It used to be 18 by 18. Oh, I guess it shows up over here. Just looking at that over there. All right, so the formula to get this to change, is there a formula installed? Okay, so there is not. Good thing, otherwise I would have had to redo this whole video. For this part here, I want the formula. I'll put the formula here on the inside of the knob. So here, put it before the smoothing. I mean, probably not big of a deal, but just so that there's nothing in the way of the smoothing. Oops, yeah, that's right. Okay, and then for this function here, we look at our signal level conversion, come to linear here, converting volts to decibel. That's not what we want. We want to convert level in decibel to volts, so that way we can change the amount here. So get that plugged in here, and our formula B equals. We want to change our variable to A, and that's all there is to it. So that is 10 times 10 to the power of A, the brackets A and brackets divided by 20, and that will hopefully be right. Get that sent out, and then in there, it's already there. So this goes into the bottom of the ADJ, and then our levels come through top. And I just want to make sure these numbers are right. They are not. So let's go negative 18 to 18. And I imagine that is the case. No? Okay. Bandwidth. Okay, everything looks okay. Still need to set a preset rather. And then I want these signals out, right? Just tidy it up a little bit. Not really much to tidy. Just like things sitting on the grid here. Something like that. Get the signals out. This gainer. Right angle there. And get them out. line it up here, change that name, see what it looks like here. What kind of alignment here? We have pretty much equal spacing there. So I'm going to do the best to get equal spacing. Okay, looks fine. Nailed it the first time. And this is called gain. Then I'm going to bring in this sort of faded background. This is just to give the plugin a little more readability. Sometimes these readouts are blue, pure blue, and it's really hard to read. So that should be enough space. I mean, in contrast, there's enough pinky worth of space, plus this dB sitting right there. So not exactly how it used to be, but that's where it's at. Now I want to set some sort of defaults here. I did mess with this. I don't know what that was. So I'm going to reload. Save changes, no. And I just want that number, 0.6. So these are really like far-fetched, seemingly. I mean, why would we booster cut in the same spot as a low shelf? So I'm going to assign sort of my own values here. We want EQs empty. 250 sounds good for the first one. That's generally where the bass is. Then I'd say 1000. That's generally where the body of sound is. And then 2.5, that's generally where noise starts. And then I'd say 16K is where the high end, where the air is. So between there, maybe let's go 9.5. That's where noise ends. So then we can boost sort of everything past that. I wouldn't say air. It's like everything crispy past that point. But between 2.5 and 9.5, that's sort of the most sensitive part of the human ear. And for bandwidth, we want sort of a considerable amount, right? So maybe the range between here and there, but it's not really, right? And there's no way to really, that's also my top bar here to be realigned. Preset manager, I think it's off by 1A. Yeah, so let me put one more here because it's an uneven number and I don't really want to have to fight with it. Okay, and then over one, down the rest. And how do I do this now? Just center everything. One more over. Right. Now there's a bunch of space here. But considering the space here and the space here, I'd feel like that's equal. It's just this dB sitting so far to the left. Makes it look a little off. Okay, so now this should be staying right in the middle. It is. Bring this over. And then I feel like I want to tuck that in one. Yeah, that feels better. Okay. And I'm just going to leave it tight to the top and bottom. Or I could shrink it, eh? Let's shrink it. Way tight. But this line is sort of tight. Like that. If I go too tight though. Right? Nah. Let's give it some space. Yeah. One more. Visual stuff. Visual stuff. Okay. Good enough. Not good enough. That's where it's at. That's where I want it. Okay. Gain feels a little on its own. Presets. So from 250 to 2500. Let's do some math here, but not with a giant graph. Strip that down and standard. So we want 2500 less 250. Gives me 2250. So we'll go with that. And that should fit in the pocket between these two. And then from 1000 to 9500. 8500. Not hard math. So 500. Then that's done. Looking good. That's where it's at. Let's build it. Okay, so it's saved already. Everything looks okay here. There's no stray modules. What is this? It's just a rectangle. Let's get rid of this asset. Yeah, might as well just leave it. I don't know why it's MIDI in for preset management. That's right. Okay. Go ahead and save that again and then export it. The name is going to be different here. I need to change this name. What does it call it here? It calls it Para EQ4. So let's copy that name. EQ4, and my A is really big. So that's copy that over here. SETL. I'm not sure what that sort of abbreviates. Let's go SEPE. Okay. And I'm going to change this. Let's change to ABC because these will be available on my Patreon. So manufacturer ID can just stay like that. Save file first, yes. Now I can open FL10 here. Close that. And I don't see it. Where is it? There it is. I don't know why it's sat in the back. I need to refresh my plugin list. I can do that by in the plugin panel here, plugin database, any of the top folders, right click, refresh plugin list, fast scan. Take a few seconds, faster than usual because my computer is relatively cleaner than usual, which is a good thing. Now let's mess with it a bit here. Let's go with a white noise balance. Just going to close these and white noise, which is this, I believe. Yes. Then I'm just going to turn on the volume. And all I really want to see is that it's working. And I want to see the scoops and the bandwidths and stuff. So go ahead and do that. I'll just hit play. I'll push this and hit play. And then open up span here, span plus. So this is a 4.5 slope. We can see white noise is quite a major slope. So I'm just going to bring the slope back to 0 so it's a little easier to look at opposed to a massive slope. Then set this to 1 and finally bring in the PEQ4. Place that here. And that's a bad sign. It looks like my presets didn't save. Everything's defaulting to 18. Why is it doing that? Oops. Okay, let's turn that off. What happened there? So, perhaps I can go and just save this as a preset here. XML presets fine. We'll call this init. Initial. Okay, will be factory, whatever. Now, I'm not sure why it did that. I just want to change these and see what happens. Okay, so that's sort of, I don't know why it started with that. Weird. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that, and then hopefully I can just load it here. Again. Yeah, it's weird that it starts with that one. Okay, so there is no presets. I'm not sure why. Load, and I want an XML. Guess that's buried pretty deep. I don't know what happened there. I'll just attempt to build it again. Worst case scenario, I'll just have to reset all the presets manually. Okay, so it shows them there. However, when I bring it in, is it going to do that again? Yeah, weird. I don't have any presets, and I don't know where that preset went. All right, so 250, 1000. What's this? 2500. So it's 9500. 0 gainers off. Okay, and then what was the other value? The bandwidth values. 2250 8500. All right. So there still might be a chance that there'll be problems, especially with these slopes. I don't know where the slopes are. So it's fine. Looks fine. Yeah. So really, the test is inserting the plugin and it not changing the signal, which is important. So let's start changing the signal here. We're looking at a 250. So from here down, it's going to be a boost. Nothing. Okay, so a bit of a boost, not major. It's quite a bit. Mark cut. All right, so that's good. Now this is 1000 by 2500. So hopefully it's not too brutal. It actually might be. I didn't find the middle, so it might just grab everything. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. It's grabbing everything, though I didn't find a middle point. Didn't do my math right. 2500 by 8500, so same thing. Is probably going to grab everything. Check is, drop it, cutting, and 9500. So this is everything up past a certain point. So if you're wondering what that sort of sounds like, I'm going to get into that too into a second. However, I do want to change these numbers here. I got to find the center, which is a little hard to do because each side is balanced, right? So the most I'm going to be able to get is 750 on either side because 250 is here. So I'm not going to quite reach that 2500. So 750 plus 750, what, 1500? Then it should just drop where they are. Yeah. Okay. So right at 250 now. However, it's not quite reaching 2500. It looks like it's just below it. So then the low shelf, sort of the other part of that, right? I can pull down. So they're sort of connected now. Then 2500. So my low is 1000. So 1000 down, right? That would be the maximum. So make it 1000. And then it should just reach the bottom one. And it looks different because it's a logarithmic scale. For those who don't know what they're looking at, things increase. So we see from here to here is 100, from here to there is 1,000, and then from here to here is a 10,000, and then from there to there is another 10,000. And that's generally how we see sound. Otherwise, a linear scale would be quite long. It would be hard to see things, and things wouldn't look that great. So just looking at this high shelf here. So we are quite a ways away. It looks like we're cutting most of the noise range. However, we still have quite a bit here of just like the major, probably the most sensitive part of the ear. And then the EQ1 coming in. Yeah, so they're pretty much right beside each other. We see we actually have a little bit of a scoop here. And then again, the low shelf. Check out my website, jwpsite.com, for my social links, latest news and updates, and public offerings. My Twitch, JWP Stream, Facebook, JWP Meta, YouTube at JWPTube. If you'd like to help support what I do, check out my Patreon, JWP Patreon. That's with 2 P's. There's exclusive content there for making your own audio plugins in SynthEdit, as well as the prefabs or presets or save files from this tutorial series. My GoFundMe, JWP Fund, or my PayPal, jwpmas@gmail.com. Likes, comments, subscribes, follows, whatever makes you click, appreciated. Thanks for watching. Until next time.